Welcome to the Mindful Mondays podcast, weekly reflections and meditations to start your week right. With your host, author, meditator, and founder of Mind, Body and Spirit Entrepreneur, Rachel Thompson.
Good morning, meditators. Welcome to the Mindful Mondays podcast, and welcome back to day 4 of our Mindfulness Challenge. I hope that your mindful conversations were interesting and maybe a little eye-opening. And I gave a little teaser in last episode that we're going to be talking a little bit more and expanding on what we talked about yesterday. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about mindfully combating negativity. Today, you're going to be an observer of your emotions as if you are a doctor studying a patient. Now, it may be beneficial to keep a thought journal, like I've been mentioning, to track your emotions and your thoughts. So whenever I said to track some emotions and thoughts after conversations yesterday, now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into how to mindfully examine your own emotions. For today, pay attention to any time you have a negative emotion, such as anger or resentment, sadness, frustration, annoyance, anxiety, any sort of depressive feelings, guilt, etc. As soon as you notice the emotion, be mindful of what you are thinking. Outside factors never cause negative feelings. Understanding what thoughts you are attaching to situations will help you understand where your negativity comes from and also help you reduce it. Often we have a negative feeling and then we attach more thoughts to support the negative feeling, which in turn increases the intensity of the thought and the intensity of our emotions. How often has this happened to you? Somebody says one thing, and for the rest of the afternoon, you're thinking about it, and you get angrier and angrier and angrier. This is what we're going to become mindful of. By simply taking a step back and being mindful of your thoughts and the situation, you're able to stop this process before it gets out of control. When you are having trouble getting out of a negative mindset, focus on being mindful of the current situation. There's something called a pattern interrupt that can help. If you are mindfully observing your thoughts and they are just negative and they keep going and you're trying to just stay focused and be in that moment, try to think of how to interrupt that. That could be calling somebody not to talk about your negative thoughts, but to talk about something completely different. It can be deciding to work on a project that requires 100% of your attention and your concentration. This can interrupt the pattern. So now that's not necessarily a mindful technique, but you're being mindful of how your thoughts are getting out of control, and then you're mindfully deciding a new activity that's going to help stop that process. You can also use the techniques from the meditation to help you. You can mentally go through everything we went through in the meditation. You don't necessarily have to listen to it, or you can just focus on your breathing or focus on one particular sight or sound or stimuli. And that can often be enough to kind of break you out of that thought cycle. A good way to think about this is imagine you are riding your bike and you've come to the top of a hill. Now, the top of this hill is your environment, your setting. It's a neutral space. Then, a negative thought comes along and gives you a little push down this hill. Now, this hill can be very small or it can be gigantic. If you allow your mind and emotions to take over, you'll continue to pick up momentum. And before you realize it, you're speeding down this hill out of control with no way of stopping yourself. Now, if you insert some mindfulness, immediately after that push, the ground begins to level and you realize what you thought was going to be a gigantic hill was just a little bunny slope. You quickly regain control. As you go through today, focus on being as mindful as you can as soon as you feel any negativity. Take the situation for what it is, pay attention to your thoughts, and you will notice this can quickly begin to lessen your negative emotions. Remember to bring your focus to the present moment, such as sights or sounds. or to think of a pattern interrupt, what you can do that's going to distract your mind in a healthy way where you can put your concentration on something else that's more productive. And this is all going to stop you from rolling down that hill of negativity. And that is it. This can be challenging. It can be more challenging for some than others, just depending on the kind of thinking habits that you have ingrained, how you deal with negativity on a regular basis. But this is an excellent first step. Good luck with this. There is a new meditation out, so if you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and do so. We're kind of moving on to the next stage of this mindfulness challenge. I hope you enjoy it, and I will talk with you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to Mindful Mondays with Rachel, a mind, body and spirit entrepreneur production. If you enjoyed today's episode, head over to www.mymbse.com for more free resources and trainings. Don't forget to subscribe, rate and give us a review. And join us next week for a brand new meditation and reflection.